It's January 2026, and I'm coming to you live from the Consumer Electronics Show here in Las Vegas. Honestly, the neon lights and the absolute chaos of Vegas feel like the perfect metaphor for the marketing industry right now. It's fast, it's high stakes, and the reward to risk ratio has never been higher. But while some hear only noise, I'm listening for the signals. I see an incredible moment to invent the future of marketing, and I'm betting on marketers to win big. I'm Joshua Spanier, VP of AI and Marketing Strategy at Google, and this is Frontier CMO. On this show, I'm meeting the leaders, entrepreneurs, and technologists who are rewriting the marketing playbook for growth in the age of AI. My guest today is the person Fortune 500 CEOs call when they need to see around the corner. Shelly Palmer is the CEO of the Palmer Group, advisor to some of the world's largest companies, and contributor to our own Think with Google. Shelly has a thesis that hits home for me. AI isn't a tech problem, it's a human leadership challenge. If you're a CMO, growth leader, or executive trying to lead through this AI moment, this episode is for you. Morning, Shelly.
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited here, excited for this conversation, excited to be at CES. I love coming to Vegas at the start of the year, so I'm one of the weird ones in that regard. Vegas is my kind of town. Welcome, Shelly.
Thank you.
Shelly is the advanced media professor for Syracuse University, professor in residence, as I understand it. I stole that title myself when I put my own new title together. So I'm in residence as well. I like it. You're the CEO of the Palmer Group. You advise many Fortune 500 companies. You are acknowledged as the person that CEOs come to when they want to see around the corner.
I've heard that said. There's for others to say.
LinkedIn named you the top, I got to get this right, top voice in technology. So I don't know their methodology, but take it. It's a good thing. And then you're the best-selling author. I read your email every day.
Thank you. You're the one?
And it's you're acknowledged as one of the leaders on AI, on marketing, on technology. Welcome to Frontier CMO. I'm thrilled you're here.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm very, very excited. I'm excited for CES. I'm excited to have a live audience as we record Frontier CMO for the first time. So we're here in Las Vegas, and a few weeks ago, you and I had a little chat, and you were saying you were kind of underwhelmed about the technology that was coming to CES. And it stuck with me. I was kind of surprised to hear you say that you're underwhelmed by the technology at CES. And this is a city that is a mirage of a city. It's built in the desert, completely artificially, at a trade show where a lot of the technology is kind of vaporware. It's a mirage as well. They show stuff, but it's not real for years, if ever. And it just got me thinking through the holiday break about the mirages in marketing, the mirages in AI. And I've already had this week people tell me that they've 10x their production of creative from their marketing campaigns through generative AI. And their efficiency metrics are off the charts thanks to AI. And it just got me thinking about, is the productivity efficiency gains in AI, is this a little bit of a mirage? Because our industry, the marketing industry, has made a lot of pretty crappy ads for decades. Are we just now making more ads at speed, at scale? Is AI actually going to make us better marketers? Or is this efficiency we're seeing, all this excitement about efficiency, kind of a distracting gap?
That is a lot of question in one question.
Yes, it is.
So let's take these things backwards in order. CES, there are three lenses: what's happening now, what's going to ship in a year or so, and what's never going to ship. And so that's the lens you get at CES. And when I said to you that I was underwhelmed by the technology, in context, it was the consumer technology that is underwhelming to me, not technology in general. Everything is an incremental change. And CES traditionally had been about aha moments and bright, shiny new object and something that, oh, did you see the dancing cow or whatever it's going to be? And, who got the most press releases for being the coolest thing? And that's not what's here. The innovation here is incremental, and that's still innovation. And the reason it's underwhelming is that there's nothing to see. So the level of excitement is like, oh, TVs, I know, I can tell you, they're going to be thinner, bigger, brighter, like and have a slightly better picture, better color, better contrast. It's like, yeah, it's going to be incrementally better. The thing that's important to understand about CES, and I'm going to get to your marketing question in a second, the thing that's important about CES is that once a Rubicon is crossed, or once a path of improvement can be calculated, you can make some very, very good predictions about what technology will empower consumers at some point in the future. So you knew when the RealSense chip showed up that we were going to be able to do product placement in a phone, in a smartphone, in a couple of years, because now we can calculate the angle. We can literally make a 3D image with the multi-lens camera and the RealSense chip. So like things like that became real obvious. To your marketing question about the mirage of AI and whether productivity is what it's chalked up to be. If absolutely all AI research and all AI advancements stopped today, as if we just put a stop to it, just put the brakes on, hypothetically, it's a thought experiment, no more advancements in AI. We're 5 years away from realizing the efficiencies that can be achieved right now in big corporate. Because this is not in any way a technology challenge. It is a leadership challenge. And what I mean by that is you are giving people, unless you're properly leading them, you find me a human being anywhere in the world who wants to do 3 years worth of work in 1 year and get paid for 1 year for 3 years worth of output. They're not going to do it. They're going to fold their hands. They're going to figure a way. The middle management mafia or the deep state, whatever you want to call that group, they are not in any way interested in helping you build the weapons to kill them with. They're just not going to do it. If you are a good leader and you can motivate your teams and to enter or become part of a culture of continuous adaptation, and what that means very simply is we know every single morning there's going to be new technology now. Like you wake up, press release, something new. Wow. Hey, that 2 years of coding I just did, they just made it a feature. Wow, that's a pain. Oh, wow, I've been working on this for 4 months. Now it's part of code. It's done. Now it's part of Gemini. It's like, wait a minute, like nano banana, I'm minding my own business, trying to do stuff. All of a sudden, wake up in the morning and I have persistent images and be like, wait, what? We've been trying to work this out with inference and training for 6 months now. And you guys just made it a feature while I'm not, like, oops. So that's coming every day. So how do you lead your team? And how do you organize your business around knowing that to be an absolute fact of life?
Is this because you do a lot of mentoring for CMOs?
Yeah.
So is this the main thing you're trying to teach CMOs, how to adapt to the technological change which is coming every day?
It's certainly part of it. The most important part of what we're talking about now is you as a C-suite leader are sitting with other leaders on the LT. So what do you need to do? You go see risk and compliance and say, I know your favorite word is no. You go see the general counsel. I know your favorite word is no. You go see SecOps. You say, I know your favorite word is no. I have some stuff I have to do. I've got technological opportunities I've never had as a chief marketing officer. My organization can be completely augmented and made significantly more efficient. And I'm going to get to what that means in a second. Significantly more efficient if I can adapt quickly or respond in reasonable timeframes. If you're going to take 6 months to vet a certain thing I have to add to my tech stack, 6 months from now, 9 iterations later, we just can't function in the world at the speed the world is going. If, you have to think at the speed of YouTube shorts. You can't think at the speed of long form television like that. It's just the way it is.
You just described a whole bunch of other departments or other disciplines within companies. So the marketing has a problem with those functions if they're not quick enough, but that's not marketing's problem per se.
Oh no, that is marketing's problem.
What do marketers need to fix themselves before they go to those?
I would argue that has to get fixed first. That's my argument. But if you're a marketer, there's a couple of things that you need to understand. First and foremost, agents don't work by themselves. And everyone's going to come in to try to sell you an agent of some kind now. Every company, hyperscaler, foundational model builder, you are going to be barraged with agents and agentic solutions and every way you can say the word agency. And the problem is that agents require harnesses. So if you think about what exists right now, the foundational model builders have built models that have some reasoning capabilities and have some level of agency. Most can already search the web. They can do whatever they can do that feels agentic. But they're self-contained from your perspective. They know what they know. So call that the intelligence and just leave it alone for a minute. The harness would be everything around it. What do I need to do to wire this up? I need to give the agent context. I need to give the agent some kind of rubric for scoring. I need some kind of eval. Like, there's a whole flywheel of things that I need in order to ensure the agent is doing its job. So once I have a model chosen for a particular task or goal, and once I've got a harness set up that's going to give me access to my data, the grounding, the pre-prompt, the system prompt, the context, like all the things it needs to have, that will become the system, whatever that system is going to be called. You'll name it yourself. Everyone's got their own name for their own system.
Yep.
And that empowers agents to be autonomous. Because without a model and a harness to give you a systemic way to give the agents agency, you're totally doomed. And here's the thing that just isn't out there. What are the permissions tables going to look like? What's the access control? What's the life cycle management of this agent? Who's looking at it? Who's making sure that it's improved? Where's the human in the loop? So you have to reorganize your marketing department around this idea that you've got human agent pairs or human machine pairs, and subject matter expertise matters more than anything ever. So the more you know, the better you're going to do this. The better you are at it, the better the agents that you are deploying are going to be, because you're going to be watching them on a regular basis. And if marketers set their departments up like this, they can absolutely function no matter what tech comes up any given day. And if they don't set it up like this, it grinds to a halt.
Everything you were describing there sounded like test, learn, iterate, push boundaries, build up the muscles to actually develop in AI or any function whatsoever. Are there marketers you see who are doing that well today? Are you prepared to name any names? What are some of the barriers to even just getting into this cycle?
I'll go to MNDA jail if I mention names, so I can't do that. But what I can tell you is that everybody is new at this, and this is not only is it new for everybody, it's way harder. Like, to say it is one thing, but there are human beings involved. And when I tell you that there are big feelings here, it's understating it in the extreme. There's a thing called identity threat. I didn't know about it. I thought I invented the phrase when I was writing a blog about it. Like, I was so excited that I came up with this thing, and then I Googled it and I was like, oh, it's been around for 200 years. Damn. It turns out identity threat is basically the fear of automation. And it goes back as far as the cotton gin, where people like flipped out that they were going to lose their jobs to a machine. And so here's what's interesting. So let's say you're great at your job. I mean, really great at your job. And you start working with Gemini or Nano Banana or ChatGPT or a Claude Code, and you do something and it's great. And because you're really good at your job, you know this thing just killed it. And in fact, net new killed it in your mind. The reason is, while you've read everything in your field and been in it for so many years, any foundational model has read everything ever printed, ever, and seen every image ever available. You haven't. So it's just got even though it's a vague understanding of the universe, it's a bigger vague understanding than yours. So all of a sudden, somebody will sit down and you're goofing around with Gemini and it writes a couple of paragraphs. Wow. If you are great at your job, you have the ability to recognize that that is really high level, and it flips you out. Now, the first time it's a novelty, and the second time it's like, that was cool. By the fifth or sixth time you sit down and this thing's giving you output you could not have come up with, and you recognize it as something you could not have come up with, and you're great at your job and you know this thing is better at it than you are, this is where identity threat sinks in hard, and no one will say it out loud for fear of being labeled a Luddite or an AI Luddite, right? Oh, they're anti-AI. They're going to get fired. You need AI on your resume. You need to control AI. Everybody all of a sudden is like AI something. I am the director of AI for toasters. It's like, okay, good. Whatever. Toothpicks. Yay. I mean, whatever there's AI for. So we are in a really interesting place. All the things we're talking about become sociological, and they are the most human issues. And it's funny because the tech, we've never, ever occupied the planet with alien intelligence before. So now we've got intelligence decoupled from consciousness as a partner. And some people say, well, it's just a tool, use it as just a tool. I don't disagree with that notion. It's not a person, it's a tool set. But it's much more than that. And what makes it much more than that are two things. One, its capability and where it's going. If we believe we're getting to artificial general intelligence or artificial superintelligence, we have a different conversation to have.
So what is the role of, I guess, branding and building a brand, both in an LLM agentic world, but also with, I just don't know that I could believe that Gemini, as great as Gemini is going to be able to build my brand.
Why would you ask it to? That's like, why would anybody want to shovel their job function off to a machine? It's like, maybe if your job is shucking corn, you'd like to figure out a more efficient way to do it. Two kinds of creative in the world: inspired creative and required creative. So let's leave inspired creative completely out of this conversation. Inspired creative, the universe brings me melodies that I want to write down and they become a hit song. Inspired. Doesn't happen every minute. Required creative. I get a brand brief Thursday at 2:00 in the afternoon, and the senior executive of the ad agency says to me, "We need you to we'll be in your studio 9:00 tomorrow morning to record. We need to ship by 5:00. We need underscores for the 60, 30, 15, 23 plus 7 and the 5-second tag, and it better be great." Oh, thanks. That means it's got a budget. It's got to be done. It's an underscore. I've done 1,000 of them. I got to get it out the door. And then I need cut downs. So I've done the 60. I need the 30, the 23 plus 7. I need the 15 and maybe the 10 plus 5, which would be like, I need all these cut downs on the deliverable sheet. I'm not going to ask AI to write the song. I'm not going to ask AI to do any of that. I may use it to enhance my production capability. I may ask it to do some of the gentle compression on the bass drum so I don't have to reach for the knob. I may talk to my AI and have it do certain things for me. But I would absolutely let it do the cut downs. Cut downs I'm doing mathematically. It's algorithmic the way you cut it down, and music has real rules. It's like, okay, I can do this. So inspired creative, required creative, tool calls versus like if you're laying off your humanity to a machine, you're a moron. Like you can't do that. Like that's not what it is. But there are realities in our world. Let's talk about the realities. Production, all production, 100% of production is a factory business. It lives and dies on the cost controller. During all the technology I learned, by the way, I learned by building production tools. I wanted to be a more efficient producer. And we had a lot of work, and I wanted to do more. And we had audio work and video work, and I just wanted to be able to do it faster and better. And this is my point. You got a budget. The budget for the project is $25,000. I'm making this up. If you spend $26,000, you lose $1,000. If you spend $9,000, you're making. It's like it's the margin. As a producer, you're looking for the biggest possible margin you can because you don't have any control over the budget. The producer walks in and says, "You got $25,000 for this." It's like, okay. Now, how good of a producer are you? Can you get their expectations met at a price? Required creative. Can you get their expectations met at a price? AI is all over that, and it's going to be all over that. And where it's failing now, it will not fail. You choose your timeline: 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, sometime before 3 years and more than 5 minutes. This is going to be a solved problem. You're 100% right about, and what can never happen, and I never say never, but what can never happen is you as a human being cannot give your humanity to the machine and then blame the machine for you being an idiot. That you can't do. So if you think, because you just literally don't know how to do something, that you can type in, "Please write me War and Peace and get me a Pulitzer Prize," and you think that's going to yield a Pulitzer Prize winning book, that's not the fault of the AI. You just don't know what you're doing with the tool set. But if you hand this tool set to a well-seasoned marketer who really understands that this is a productivity tool writ large, that it's governed like a synthetic employee, which means it is your employee, and you will need to figure out a way to talk to it and to constrain it and to give it rules, which are all done with a set of markdown files basically for agents, then you can prosper, and these things can really be valuable. And I can see every single marketing department getting 20 to 30% more productive. Now, you said something earlier I think is really, really important and we shouldn't gloss over. Does this mean we're going to be making, instead of 2 terrible commercials, 200 terrible commercials? Our BlackBerries, to date myself, did not make us better communicators. It made us faster communicators.
Yeah.
So you could make a lot of stuff and then you can make a lot more bad stuff. I mean, you just make a lot of stuff. So whether it's good or bad, that's required or inspired. Is it going to make a lot of good inspired creative? I don't think it's ever going to make any inspired creative.
So inside of Google, we've had a huge amount of conversation about taste and craft and skill. And the analogy I liked is the notion that creative directors are now more important than ever before. If you're flying on a plane, do you want to have the pilot of the plane or the CEO of United flying the plane, right? I definitely want the pilot every time. And in the same with credit, you need people who actually have taste, who have judgment to help set the machines, build the playbooks, and do that work. And it's such an important thing. And I think it's being overlooked.
Well, look, the problem is, and you can really, really see this when you get into it with live human beings. Most people don't create for a living. They execute other people's visions. And what the AI tools that we have now, which, by the way, I have to say we have now, because if there is anything that looks like AGI that happens, everything I'm about to say is nonsense. But at the moment, you have a tool where you interact, you give it a task or a goal, whether it uses agents you're conscious of or whether it just uses agents behind the scene. However it does what it does, it gives you some output. That output you will score as being relevant or irrelevant to what it is you're trying to accomplish. That's today. And for that, the higher level subject matter expert will do better than anyone else. Like the more you know, the more you get out of this.
Let me put you on the spot here. Let's role play for a second here. I'm a new customer. I'm a new client for you, for the Palmer Group. I'm a CMO. I know nothing about AI. I need to get up to speed. What are 3 practical things as an individual, as a marketer, as a leader that I should be doing every day or every week to learn about and actually train myself about AI technologies and marketing?
Personal projects are my favorite go-to. I don't care what it is. You pick a project. My project for my Christmas vacation, I have a home automation system in my house. And I asked a large language model with its reasoning engine full up, I won't say which one, to go explore my Wi-Fi network and see if there are any open APIs. And it found a whole bunch. I said, well, what'd you find? And it found lighting, and it found the security system, and it found the cameras, it found the doorbell camera, and it found all the lights, and it found the HVAC system, and it started a report back. I'm like, hey, I hate Control4, which is the app that the integrator uses for, when you have like a lot of nonsense on your phone. And I had like 6 different apps. I'm like, I think let's build an app to consolidate it. And of course, this is a rabbit hole that only a geek like me could go down and stay in forever. And so within a few hours, I had a fully working app. And then, of course, it's time to refine it. So I'm so in love with the idea that I can control the house without having to call somebody and do it. So every night I'm goofing around with this. Now, what does that do for me? Every time something happens where they change some code, add a feature, anything happens that would make this work better, or I run into a problem I wouldn't have run into as a thought experiment, but I am running into hands-on keyboard. So you put your hand, one of my clients did something fantastic. She had a kid in travel soccer, and she decided she was snack parent, and they wanted to do a rotation of like the people who bring like orange slices and Dunkin' Munchkins and whatever you bring to after soccer. So what she did was she built an app that they could sign up. She got Stripe integrated to it. She built some performance marketing campaigns to get the parents to be reminded that they haven't got their snack thing going. She then built a dashboard with analytics because she was in marketing, and she said, "What can I do?" I said, "Well, what personal project is?" And she was complaining that all the parents in the high school don't contribute properly and appropriately. So she decided to go for it. And this thing looks like a business. It literally looks like a business. It's got an unbelievable website. It's React over Tailwind. It's sitting up on Vercel as a front end. The back end's in Google Cloud. It's like, wait, what? And she had no idea how any of that happened or what any of it meant. But she knew it worked. And she knew exactly when, and the Stripe integration was hysterical because the parents, if they didn't want to come with snacks, could send money. Like this was and all she does every time we get on a Zoom, we just talk about like how much she has learned because she's doing a personal project. My advice to everybody is choose something you really care about, where you would know what the output looks like, and you'd have a reason to continuously improve that project. One of my friends did something with his record collection. They all have barcodes on the back that tie it to the Grace Note database. And he decided that he was going to catalog all of his vinyl records and CDs and videotapes in this crazy app with a crazy search capability. And so any project, it doesn't matter what it is, any project. And what happens is, if you are deeply into something, then you start reading blogs and listening to stuff. All of a sudden, you get deeper and deeper into it because you are doing something that you're passionate about. That will translate to work. The other way doesn't. And I would say to every marketer, I'd say to every executive, Tech Tuesdays or Tech Thursdays are a must. No one's doing this without getting paid. Nobody. You take an hour Thursday morning and you say, it's Tech Thursday, we're writing apps, or we're writing agents, or we're going to be writing evals today, and we're going to, like, whatever it's going to be, we're going to writing product PRDs, product requirements documents. We're going to do something as a group that's going to get us from here to there. You're going to get paid to do it. And here's a Starbucks card or something. If you're the best one today, voted by, whoever you're voting with, you've got to gamify this. You have to pay people to do it, and you have to lead from the front, which means every senior leader has to put hands on keyboard every single day.
So I heard three things there. Have a personal project, keep it going, learn, create some sort of space at work where you actually say, we're going to solve this problem collectively as a group together. And as a leader, you got to show up. You got to be there doing that with your team.
100%. This is so new, and it changes literally every morning. And the speed, it's not even the number of announcements, it's the speed of the improvement. The frustration of working on something for a couple, 3 months and then having it become a feature, I'm over that now, because it's so much a part of my life. I just expect to wake up in the morning and go, oh, yeah, I didn't need to do that for the last 3 months, but I did. And so did my clients. And here's why. The knowledge you obtain from solving a problem that ultimately is so clear and so obvious that it will become a feature of whatever system you're using makes you powerful, because it trains you to think about the sequence that you are commanding. And we think instantly because we're humans, and we're used to, a lot of people talk before they think, and a lot of people think before they talk, but you can kind of see the wheels turning. If I asked you to break down into individual steps some decision you'd made, it would take you a second. You have to sit down, this and that and that. Everything you ask an agent to do must be broken down that way. You have to break it down into component parts. And where there's a weak link in the chain, you need to understand it. And so going through the motions of solving problems really, really prepares you to think the way you need to think, until 5 minutes from now, 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now, 5 years from now, we attain AGI, where it can generally learn one thing and apply that knowledge to something else. We don't have AI that can do that, but everyone thinks we're going to get there. Some people think it's going to be through large language models. Some people think it's going to be through world models. Here at CES, we've got a lot of physical AI all over the place, a lot of robots. These robots are trained with physical movements. They're not trained from text. You have to put on a glove, or you have to put on a rig, and you have to do the action that you want the robot to do. And then the robot ultimately learns how to do it. I think a lot of people are going to be training robots for a long time. That's where we are. So everything we're talking about right now could go on for another decade, or could be tomorrow morning, Google could make an announcement that everything I just said is nonsense.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That's the point.
So let's ground this a little closer to home, but let's say 2030, right? 2030 is very close, also a very long way off. And I wanted to go slightly further out, because we're all reading our predictions about 2026. And I know we underestimate what's happening in the near term or overestimate the near term and underestimate the long term. How does marketing change? How does the CMO's role change? What does it mean to be a CMO in the year 2030? Does CMO even exist as a job title then?
So 2030, that's a funny number. The role of the CMO today, and the role of every marketer today, is the same exact role as a driver who is teaching a self-driving car to drive.
Okay.
Has all the self-driving car accoutrement, and you're sitting behind the wheel driving. And the reason you're doing that is after, I'm going to make this up, after 10,000 miles of driving, you take your hands off the wheel for 30 seconds and see how it works. And you put your hands back on the wheel, drive another 10,000 miles, give it 2 minutes to drive on its own. Another 10,000 miles, give it 5 minutes to drive on its own. That's the role of the CMO today and every marketer. We are co-working with, we are AI human co-worker teams. We are literally training the system, which is models and harnesses, which empower agents. We are giving these agents the instructions and we are watching them closely and we're training them. That's today. There's going to come a time when the CMO, this could be again, any minute, or it could be years out, 2030s is a good arbitrary date, where the self-driving car of marketing is trained. And now I only have to tell the car where to go. I don't have to tell it how to get there or how to drive on the roads to get there. So I go from tactical marketer who has strategic responsibility to purely strategic marketer who must think faster than all other marketers because I can execute at extreme speed. And so this transition from tactician with strategic oversight to pure strategy, and also the marketer today leads in an organization where, again, you've got human beings executing required creative that is algorithmic in nature and will very obviously be done by tools. And so your job today is holding your team together while everybody freaks out to try to figure out like who's look left, look right, who's not going to be here next year. That's going on and has to be dealt with. But when you now you are the chief marketing strategy person, and it's indistinguishable from execution, indistinguishable from distribution, indistinguishable from metrics and measurement, where the investment tools are so good that no human can do a better job than the media optimization and activation tools. This is all coming. There's nothing's going to stop this. So the role is going to evolve. And again, I would argue the way to be ready for that evolution is to be a great leader of adaptation, not change. Change is going to happen every morning. I have to adapt to that change. And there's a great story. I want to say Sundar told this story. I stole it from someone. It's not original. The difference between reacting and responding. And the story goes, a bunch of people are around a table in a restaurant, and all of a sudden there's a cockroach on the table, and everybody screams and jumps, and people are freaking out. And that's reacting. And the waiter sees what's happening, grabs a napkin off another table, walks up, grabs the cockroach, and throws it out the door. That's responding. And I'm like, you know what? It's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's 100% true. We're going to have old and new all sort of like constantly in fighting one another. And like, so being well organized and being prepared to be better organized for this adaptation, that's the role of the marketer now. When fully adapted, it's all strategy. So subject matter expertise and great strategic thinking, some of our best marketers do that now. I think that's a unique skill. That's why they get so much money and they're working as rarefied air. The best CMOs in the Fortune 500, they're geniuses, every one of them.
And just to dig a little deeper there, what I hear when you say that is if every competitor is moving incredibly fast because they can execute at the speed of AI, and you can as well, you need to have your brand principles, your brand purpose. You need to have the artifacts of what your brand is and who you are and what you stand for absolutely tight. That should help marketing, right?
Yeah, I tell you what, two kinds of marketers, hate to say, bifurcate the world, right? There's pretty picture marketers and there's data marketers, like, and there are two camps. Some are both, but not all. Like we have people, come out of spreadsheet land and people that come out of, PowerPoint land, and they're just two different kinds of people. I don't think we can discount the amount of data human beings are generating, how we are able to sort that data out, and the difference between putting the right message in front of the right person, right place, right time, and the ability to activate, and doing that by the numbers. If the message is honed by your data exhaust, I'm looking for a new car, I'm looking for a pair of sneakers, I'm looking for a new hoodie or whatever. So the numbers marketers are working on correlation data,
Right.
that drives business. And the pretty pictures people are working on causation concepts, which is I caused you to emotionally feel this way. I created some recency and availability of my product. And at the moment they're going to make the purchase, they remember me, and that's what's going to happen. The world has a place for both of these. I'm going to argue that in the world of AI, understanding deeply how to apply these new data sets and getting in early, and it is early days, you got to go to Google, you got to go to OpenAI, and you got to sit, and those are the two big ones right, that face consumers. So the AI mode and AI overviews, like you're already in the Google AI world. Okay, those things are actually happening, marketers. How do I, in no particular order, share a prompt? I have to figure out a way to show up. How do I make sure that my site is agentic commerce optimized so that if a bot does show up, it knows what to do and how? Like there's so much blocking and tackling that is going to change. And real growth, we're not talking about immeasurable growth. We're talking about measurable difference in output. So we talk about efficiency as like people doing jobs. The efficiency I'm looking at is if you believe in marketing incrementality and you can get like 2% better here and 50 basis points better here by simply watching the numbers closely, that's where we are right now. It's the role of the marketer today is probably going to be to set yourself up so that all these new metrics are well understood by you as best they can be. And you got to go see Google and you got to go see OpenAI. And you have to say to these guys, who gets paid and how? Where are the toll booths? And since everybody listening is a marketer and everybody that's here that we're talking to is involved in buying a lot of media, you'd like to ensure the fact that your brand shows up properly. And that's not about the creative. That's about you making sure that all of the plumbing across the entire new operating system of the internet has your input. And make no mistake, this is a new operating system. Like, I don't know the future of Windows, but I do know that we are going to have some level of AI operating system where there is an intelligence layer to the network, and those little agents running all around, whatever you want to call them, whatever they ultimately get named, we have to have a handle on that. And so, yeah, creative, brand promise, those are 20th century, and those are 20th century terms. Those are terms that have a meaning now, but those meanings are going to have to be, I think, maybe redefined. Those ideas have to be redefined. Brands equal trust. Social proof is powerful.
I'm pretty excited by this. This is an incredibly complex, incredibly dynamic industry, and it's only going to get more so. And actually, as we said right at the beginning, I don't trust the machines to capture and solve some of this, but I don't know yet what we can learn and what we're going to build on. And that it's just an incredibly exciting opportunity, operating at this frontier of there's never been a better time to do what we do. I want to finish off today with a few rapid fire questions. Thank you so much for your time, Shelly. So signal versus noise. I'm just going to ask you a question and you're going to tell me whether briefly, 10 seconds or less. Okay. AGI by 2030, signal or noise?
Hopeful.
Okay, that's a wishy-washy answer. But
no, it's actually, I think you're going to get there. The president of the United States in July, they had the government put out a 27-page manifesto without defining AGI. And since it's undefined, I don't really know how to answer the question. But if we give a general description that it's the ability of an AI model to learn one thing and apply that knowledge to something else, I think that will be definitely happening by 2030. And I think it may not be large language models that do it.
Well, that's exciting.
Maybe world models that do it. We'll see.
Okay. Hyper-personalized AI video ads in your social feeds, a la Minority Report. Signal or noise?
I think hyper-personalization has its place. And one of the beautiful things about required creative versus inspired creative and the executional excellence of an AI system that's properly tuned and grounded and has good guardrails is that you have the ability to create on a spectrum. Call it hyper-targeting here and hyper-personalization here. And anywhere in the middle, you don't need to be smarter than the internet. You can test the theory now. The thesis can be laid out there and you can go, you know what? Hyper-targeting works for this particular messaging. Hyper-personalization does work here, or maybe I just back off of that a little bit. I cluster and classify in a slightly different way. So it gives you the option. And by 2030, since we're talking 2030, you absolutely have complete control over that spectrum of hyper-targeting to hyper-personalization. The blunt instrument of demographics is totally over.
Makes sense. Will an AI musician win a Grammy?
Only because Panos thinks it's cool.
Okay. Humanoid robots in the home by 2028, signal or noise?
They're shipping now. Are you going to buy here at CES? They're shipping humanoid robots now. I like the ones that box, not the ones that fold laundry. I'd love to have a boxing robot in the house, I think, for $80,000. I think that's probably semi-signal because you can do it now. The kind of robot you want and I want and that Mrs. Palmer wants, the one that actually, cleans up, does the dishes, puts the thing in the dishwasher, does the laundry, like runs around the house. I don't think that's 2028. I think that's 2038.
I got two more. AI agents purchasing 50% of all transactions.
By when?
Let's say 2035.
Yes.
That's a signal. Okay.
Oh, yeah. By 2035?
And I don't believe it because I see my wife's behavior and she researches everything over $25. And she can afford more than $25, but she just, the prospect of her handing it over just seems so unlikely.
I understand. COVID turned half the world into e-commerce shoppers that we'd be 10 years further behind, but not for being shut in for, a couple of years. The value proposition of typing into the browser bar, what used to be a Google search, and now you're chatting with intent and meaning, and you're saying, hey, I want to get a new pair of glasses, and I'm thinking about this Tom Ford thing, and what are the options? It's like that comes back emotionally satisfying, complete with a table when it does all of the research and there's a buy button right there. What is a website? Like what I want to see more. You'll say, do you have a picture of it? It'll put 15 pictures of it up for you. That there's zero need to go to the World Wide Web at that point.
Okay, final one. Signal or noise, the funnel is dead.
Totally dead. 100% signal. They're crushed and collapsed to the point where it's annoying.
On that note, Shelly, thank you so much for being on Frontier CMO. Thank you everyone for coming here today. Appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Before we wrap, I want to leave you with 3 takeaways to carry into your week. Think of these as your field notes from the frontier. First, CES isn't about gadgets anymore. It's about the business model signals. The real value of this show isn't what launches, it's what reorganizes. Smart leaders read CES as a preview of how media, discovery, and decision-making are structurally shifting. Second, AI is not just a tech shift, it's a leadership test. This moment demands ownership, judgment, and the courage to lead without a map. Decisive leadership is the new mandate. Third, the future belongs to those who get in the gym now. No one knows exactly where the transformation is going, not even Shelly. But we can learn from the waves of technological revolution he's advised through. AI change is coming fast, and you can't think your way into fitness. You have to work out those AI muscles. Test, learn, and take action now, before the industry forces change upon you. That's the real challenge. Building systems that work for machines without losing sight of the humans we ultimately serve. Thank you for joining us. For research, case studies, and tools to help you lead in this era, visit thinkwithgoogle.com. It's where we track the signals, cut through the noise, and share what leaders are testing in real time. We'll be back next episode with another leader operating at the frontier. Until then, stay sharp and stay out in front.